Pretty much every beginner producer I know struggles with making chords. Let me fix that right now. Here's how you make chords in like 30 seconds. So we're gonna pick our first note to start building the chord. It can be anything. Let's do D. This first note is called root note and we're gonna assign it a number. Let's do 0. This is our 0 point. For our second note, we're gonna add what's called the fifth and it's 7 steps above. So if this is 0, we're literally gonna go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go, that's our second note. The third and last note is the one that decides if the chord is major or minor. If you wanna do major, we're gonna add a note at number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we want to make it minor, all we have to do is move that last note from 4 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Minor chord. You can change the bottom note to whatever you want, reapply the formula, that's it. Major and minor chords, check, done. In this video, I put together 5 tips for you guys to build, improve, and transform your melodies. This was gonna be a lifesaver for beginner producers, but I also put some stuff in there that's gonna help more intermediate or even advanced producers. Tip number 2, let's go. Okay, let's say you have a basic chord progression built with just major and minor chords like we just learned. The easiest thing you can do to create more depth and variation and just make it less boring is using inversions. Here's how you do it. Let's say we have a minor chord. Let's do G minor. Start with our G. If you remember, the formula was 0, 3, 7, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. G minor. Now with this chord or any chord with 3 notes, we can do 2 kinds of inversions. The first one is called first inversion and all you have to do is bring the bottom note an octave above. So we just take our G, 1 octave up or 12 steps, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that's it. This is our G minor first inversion. Now for our second inversion, all we have to do is flip it around one more time. So this is our normal G minor, take the bottom note an octave up, first inversion, take our second note an octave up, second inversion. So out of our G minor chord, or really any chord, we created 2 different variations that we can just use for our progression. Really, really easy to do. You could even go as far as making an entire melody, an entire chord progression just from one chord flipped around a bunch of times. That's it, we just made a beat using nothing but G minor, just inverted and used in different ways, but it's just one chord. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, I want to show you one of my favorite ways to build melodies and probably one of the easiest ones as well. Now this right here, blank canvas, can be a little bit scary. We're not going to worry about chords or scales, we're just going to start with a very simple melody. Boom, boom. Duplicate it, perfect. To build on top of this, instead of adding chords, we're just gonna think about it as multiple melody lines. So this is gonna be sort of our middle melody. We're gonna start building a melody underneath, a melody above, maybe multiple layers, we'll see, but we'll just start adding stuff in single line melodies. Let's start with a little bass melody. Ooh, I like that. Let's do one more layer of bass, even lower. Boom, 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 boom. Whew, okay, it started to shape up. Okay, by just looking at it, I can tell that we need a top melody. We need something in the higher register to just fill it in. I'm just gonna loop it and start singing stuff. That's actually pretty good. Let's listen to it on its own, the top line. Okay, that's fire. I use this all the time. Plus this melody actually came out really good. Yeah, I think this is literally my favorite way to make samples. And speaking of samples, I just put out a brand new R&B melody kit on ripspeakers.com. If you're looking for some new inspiration, some really good melodies to play around with, make sure to check the link at the top of the description. It's completely free, you got nothing to lose. Go check it out. A lot of times when a melody is sounding too simple or too boring, we tend to immediately focus on the notes. We want to add more chords, add more counter melodies, add more stuff. That's not always the answer. Let's try pitching it up a little bit. In fact, usually the more stuff you start adding on top of something that's not really working, the more it just gets messy and it just doesn't sound good. More often than not, the answer to a boring melody is not more notes, but it's different textures. It's making the actual sounds a lot more interesting to listen to. Okay, I think we can start by adding a noise module. My absolute favorite way of adding textures to sounds is a plugin called Shaperbox. If you've seen any of my videos before, I know you've seen me use it in like everything that I make. Let's add some liquid. So literally a few days ago, Cable Guys released Shaperbox 3, which is what we're using right now, and it's really dope. They introduced a ton of new features, but my favorite one is probably the audio trigger. So up until Shaperbox 2, you could have your little sequence looping with time, so you could have 1 bar, a quarter note, an 8th note, whatever subdivision you wanted. But now you can go down here and click audio, and it's basically gonna restart the loop in sync with your audio. Whatever audio you send into the plugin, it's gonna use it to restart the loop in time with your audio. That's really cool. Woo! Dude, these presets are crazy! Shout out to Cable Guys and Shaperbox for sponsoring this video. Make sure to go to the link at the top of the description. Check out Shaperbox 3. It's amazing. It just came out. Go check it out. Well, we turned a pretty boring melody into something a lot more exciting without really touching any of the notes or chords or anything like that, but just by messing with the sound. Okay, resample and chop. Let me get a guitar and show you how this works. Okay, the first thing we need to do is make a melody. Ooh, that's a fire sound. Bring back the guitar. Whew. Okay, so now that we have our melody, we're gonna take everything we have and put it into a single audio file. And now we can take that audio file, put it into Simpler or whatever sampler you use in your DAW, and we can chop it up. I'm gonna pitch it down. Ooh, let's try reversing it. Let's try to find a cool pattern. Whew. I think I'm gonna pitch it down even more. That's it, just like that you can take pretty much any melody and create a variation for it, or even like a brand new beat. You can do this to spice up your own melody, or you can use it to just flip any samples. Alright, that's it for this one. Don't forget to check all the stuff in the description. I'll see you in the next video.